Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Raul here. We are back. We're doing a disc review of the BUZZSAW. I know it's been out for a little while now, but I haven't really had a chance to throw it too much. I bought it through a couple times, but really only threw it a couple times because I've been playing a lot of tournaments and haven't really wanted to go out and try a new disc like this too much. But yeah, we're gonna do a review of it. I'm also going to do a giveaway with this disc. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm at like 920, so I need 80 subscribers, and I'll give this disc away. So once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll post this disc on my Instagram. So just follow my Instagram, Calculated Disc Golf. So I'll post this disc on Instagram and I'll give it 3 days of the post being up. And all you have to do is give me a follow, and I will just choose from my followers randomly who will get this disc. Yeah, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. I only need 80 subscribers. So let's get this there so I can give this away to one of the viewers here. I'm gonna do a little comparison with my MD3 and my Hex in the bag. This MD3 has started super overstable and has beat into pretty straight. It still fades out pretty good, but if I throw it hard and flat, it'll go straight for a bit. And then this Hex is pretty overstable. In the headwind, it will flip up and go straight, but flat, it should be pretty overstable. So I'd be curious to see how this Buzz flies. Right now we have a slight tailwind, but it's not too strong, so let's see. All right, so let's start it off. Buzz, gonna throw it slight hyzer, just see how it flies on a little touchy, not touchy, but touch a hyzer line. Okay, nice. So it seems pretty stable. Put it on a touch of hyzer, just flew straight and kind of faded out the whole time. I did throw it high, so definitely, you know, probably wouldn't want to flip up or flip over at that height even with a flippier disc. So we'll test it with some, you know, different angles, but we'll go with the MD3 now, try to hit that same line. Yeah, pretty similar. I have a feeling it's gonna fly somewhat similar to that MD3 than this Hex. This Hex just seems a little bit faster, so I feel like it wants to push straight and fade a little bit harder and potentially even turn a little bit harder in the wind. Whereas those two, the MD3 and the Buzz, for some reason that Buzz almost feels a little bit deeper than most Buzzes. It's got that like two plastics molded into the rim, and maybe that makes it feel a little bit deeper, but it does feel a little bit deeper than most Buzzes. So maybe it flies a little bit more kind of on that tight path where it doesn't fade as much and it doesn't turn as much. But let's see the Hex. Those two first ones flied pretty similar, but that was kind of on that high hyzer line, so I feel like most discs fly like that on that line. All right, I wasn't really a great test of, you know, comparing those because I did hit it closer to flat and on a lower line, but it just pretty much went straight and faded out. But we'll kind of compare them once we get a couple more throws with it. All right, so the Hex went the furthest, then the Buzz, then the MD3. These were pretty close. They were like 15 feet apart from each other, both pretty left. The Hex just went straight. I think it's because I threw it flat. And maybe this thing's beating in a little bit to where when I do throw it flat and hard, it wants to push straight. But yeah, the Buzz and MD3 had a pretty similar flight in the tailwind, at least. I'll show you what I mean by this fused plastic if you haven't seen it yet. So you can see right here, there's like this white plastic and this yellow plastic. And they're two different parts of the disc, and it looks like they kind of injected this white part into the actual plate there. So it's super interesting. I'm not sure if it makes it more stable or straighter. I've heard from some people, like I think I've heard Ricky say that they're straighter, and then I've heard some people say that they're more stable. So I don't really know. I don't really throw Buzzes that much just because they've always been kind of finicky to me, like fade out a lot or kind of turn over a lot, kind of like that Hex did on that line. But yeah, we'll throw it back into the headwind. We have a slight headwind, so we'll try to just throw them pretty much flat to like a touch of turn, but not like an actual Anheuser line, and just see how they handle that. Try to keep them low. So here's the buzz. Try to just throw it at the bag, flat. All right, I pulled that, but it did come out flat. It just kind of turned over the whole time. Didn't like burn over super hard, but yeah, just slowly turned. Didn't really want to finish at all. So it's definitely not like super stable in the headwind, but that's not what I was expecting. So see the MD3, it's probably going to be somewhat similar. Maybe a little more stable based off that flight. All right, so that was pretty similar, kind of the same thing. Started it with a touch of anhyzer, not quite flat, but, or maybe it was flat, but the headwind just kind of pushed it over right away. But it was probably a touch of anhyzer, kind of held right the whole entire time, but kind of glided out right. Definitely didn't want to fade back or anything. The MD3 is pretty beat up, so it's kind of what I expect. I usually wouldn't throw it in the headwind unless I'm just throwing like a little hyzer flip shot or like a pushing hyzer, in which it would probably go straight and fade out a little bit, but I don't think I would typically throw that slot of disc on like a little flat or even anti shot. I'd probably stable up to like a Cayman or something, but it's good to know that they don't burn over. If you need it to hold or something, they still kind of glide out. Try it with the hex. Oh, got some dog walkers. All right, going with the hex. This is kind of like more of a distance potential disc. So if I need a little bit more distance, I'll go with this, but it does have like a faster turning point. So if I put it on that anhyzer, I think it'll burn over a little bit faster. But if I give it some air and hit a good angle, then I think it could go further. So it's kind of like a little bit more risk reward. If I need that extra distance, it could be worth it. All right, so I threw it a little bit hyzer and didn't put it as flat or like the slight turning angle as the other two. Maybe it was just instinctually, the headwind kind of picked up a little bit, so I try to get it a little bit closer to flat, but you could see it flipped up, turned a little bit, and then faded out a little bit stronger. That's what I was saying. It tends to want to fade a little bit more or turn a little bit harder, whereas the MD3 and the Buzz kind of want to stay in this line and either slowly turn or slowly fade. All right, so I'm definitely seeing some consistencies here. The Buzz and the MD3 are pretty much doing the same flight path, and the hex is just a little bit harder to control. First one, it went straighter than these two and just pushed straight. Second one, it faded out and kind of got a good fade at the end and was a little bit shorter. So it seems like this is a little bit harder to control as I thought, but it does have higher distance potential. As you saw when it carried straight on the first one, it went quite a bit straighter and further than these two. But yeah, we'll try to just put it on some like little drifty anhyzer angles and kind of see how they handle that on the tailwind. I'm not going to try to do it super high, just kind of penetrating, holding that anhyzer. Okay, nice. So that was good. It was just holding on anhyzer the whole entire time. Didn't really want to fade out, but you could kind of feel the stability, like working it out slowly. But still just pushing right on that anhyzer angle. So pretty solid for that type of shot. You know, kind of trust that it's not going to burn over and also that it's not going to fade over too quick. I think the MD3 should be pretty similar. Yeah, so I got that one a little bit higher and kind of a little bit more angle, so it kind of held over for a while and just slid forward. I think that one might be further than the Buzz just because, I don't know, it seemed like it just got a little bit more push and had a little bit more height to fight out of that. But we'll see this hex, see if we can get it on a good angle and see if it'll push further or kind of just do the same thing. And to be honest, I never really even throw this shot because if I have that slow turning shot, then I'll typically just throw a sidearm, but it is nice to know that if you need that slow drifter, you know, that could do it. All right, so got that one a little bit lower. Didn't quite give it the chance to fight out, but like I said, on that turning angle, it did want to turn over a little bit harder than the first two. But again, it was a little bit low, so maybe it would have fought out if it had some more time, but it definitely wanted to turn over a little bit faster than the first two. Kind of were on that angle, but we're slowly pushing out the whole time. So there you go. All right, so as I expected, the MD3 went significantly further, maybe 30 feet or so than the Buzz, and the Hex was a little bit shorter just because it kind of grounded out. But we got a little bit of headwind. It's not too strong right now, but we're just gonna throw some slight hyzer shots to kind of see how they react in the headwind. Last time I threw it flat to anhyzer. This time I kind of want to throw it slight hyzer because that's more the angle that I would choose to throw it on if I was throwing into a headwind, maybe like a 270 shot or something, you know, that just kind of drifts left into the headwind. So let's try it out. Try to just push that left side a little bit, fade it out near the bag. Oh. Okay, that's interesting. So I threw that on hyzer for sure. I guess the wind picked up a little bit, but it flipped up and turned right away. So definitely not super reliable in the wind, in the headwind. Like I said, you're probably not opting to throw a Buzz in the headwind anyway, but I wouldn't say this run is particularly overstable than your normal Buzz compared with the MD3. This thing typically will flip up in the headwind, but not completely turn over like that on a hyzer flip. Yeah, see, I feel like that was actually a pretty similar angle, kind of high and on a touch of hyzer out of the hand, but the Buzz flipped over immediately, whereas the MD3 had that little bit of stability and still faded out. The Hex on hyzer like that should kind of just push straight and then fade out, but we'll see. Yeah. So you can see on hyzer, it kind of flips up and goes straight and fades out. I think if it were to go flat, it would turn. If I were to throw it flat into the headwind, it would turn faster, but keeping it on hyzer, I think the speed allows it to flip up and kind of push through the wind a little bit more on hyzer. So that's what that disc could be, you know, useful for, is its speed. But yeah, the Buzz definitely flipped up and turned over. So like I said, definitely not your headwind disc. All right, so that was interesting. The Buzz turned over into the headwind, like I said, but the Hex pushed further than the MD3. Like I said, the speed kind of makes it want to flip up and go straight and cut through the wind a little bit more than the MD3 has. A little bit more depth, is a little bit slower, so it doesn't want to push as fast, but it's not as it doesn't want to like turn over or fade out as hard, but it's not going to go as far. So that's kind of the difference there. But overall, the Buzz is pretty solid. I wouldn't really throw most of these discs in the headwind anyway, unless it was, like I said, like a shorter shot and I just kind of wanted to drift something on hyzer. But the Buzz was pretty solid, wasn't too like flippy when I put it on the anhyzer, and had a good fade on the hyzer and the tailwind. It just wasn't that stable into the headwind. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna give this away at 1,000 subs. So if you're watching this video, please subscribe. It'll go a long way and you'll get a chance to win this Buzz. And then just follow the Instagram, Calculated Disc Golf. Make sure you're following that. Once we do hit 1,000 subs, I'll post this on the Instagram, and then after 3 days I will choose from the followers. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.